is Debbie, and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And I am going to make a folio today. This is going to be a design team project for Create with Scrimping Mummy. And I'm going to use a couple of different kits, but I'm going to focus on her Booklovers Emporium kit. So we're going to make it a long, I don't have a sample made, so we're going to just make it together. But this is one that I made in 2021, so a couple of years ago. It's a totally different kit, and I just kind of created the folio at that point, so I thought I would, it won't be exactly the same because I can't do the same thing twice exactly. However, it'll be similar. So it's like a trifold. There's a little bit of a signature here. There's a little bit of a signature here. And then I've got a flip and a pocket there. And a little tuck up there. There's a pocket here. There's a double pocket there. There's a belly band here. This is just kind of a whole piece of journaling space folded up with a card at the top. And there's the back and there's the front. So we're going to make something very similar to this, but with these papers. So I'll just show you a couple of things that I've got here. These are one of the pages of the Booklovers Emporium. There are these strips of books, and I thought these would be perfect for pockets or belly bands or whatever. I may even print it out again. So I have those, and I have these little cute stacks of books there. This is another shelf of books. There's a couple of these kind of leather albums. So I will do something with those, put some pages in probably. Oh, I have these are some of the pages of the Booklovers Emporium. Just a bunch of different letters and different text, and so just kind of a basic background page. Here's another basic background page with just a bunch of open books. And here's another one with some bookshelves and just a beautiful collage with some of the background, I think, of this one. And then the books in front with some extra writing and stuff. I really like this one. And here's another one with the books at the bottom and some of the letters and stuff at the top. So I'm going to use those to cover the folio. And then I printed out and cut out of my Cricut. There's a page of kind of mirrored elements, so you can put them back to back. So there's several different images. So there's these books, for example, and you can put them back to back, and then they become a double-sided element. So you can make them into a dangle, or we'll see what we come up with. And there's this one, reverse image. There's this one with the feather. Where's its mate? This one. And there's this one. This one here, this one here. Just some piles of books and some neat elements, but they all are reverse image, so you can put them back to back and do different things with that. This was a freebie that Amanda had on her coffee shop a while ago, and it's still there. And I printed this on white paper and cut it out with my Cricut, and it worked really well. But I didn't like the whiteness with these colors. I thought the white was a little stark, so I could have inked them. But then even the details in here are white, and these will be fabulous for another project. But I decided to print them out again on just a light tan colored cardstock. My Cricut didn't like cutting them out, so I fussy cut them by hand. But I think those ones will look fabulous in there. And then I have a couple of pages of, I think this is Vintage Compendium Kit. And I just had these printed out from something else. I think this might be one of her pretty papers. There's a few different kits here that I'm going to use for the signatures. And then I have, this is in the Booklovers Emporium as well, a couple of older file folders. I think my printer may have cut off part of that. I'm just looking at that. It looks like it's not complete. I'll have to look. I think my printer might have goofed on that. I'm letter sized here, and Amanda has a lot of her kits in A4 or letter size, but I may have used the A4 size here. And this on the other side is a page from her soft steampunk collection. So that was just the backing for these file folders. But if these file folders are goofed up, I may just use this page, because I really love this page, for something else and print these again. But we'll see. I'll check that out. So I think I'm going to do a couple of videos to make this, so this doesn't become a huge long video. So I think I'll do one to kind of do the basic folio structure, and then one to do the decorating, maybe two if I do the signatures, I'm not sure. So it'll be either a 2 or 3 part video. So first of all, we want to make the folio. And my initial folio was 5.5 by 7. So I'm going to make this similar. So I have a piece of paper. This is called ledger size in Canada. I believe that there's a UK almost equivalent A3 perhaps. I'm not positive. This measures 11 by 17, I believe. 11 by 17. Yeah. But you could also, if you don't have this, if you just have letter size or A4 size, you can piece to make this size. What you would do is just take, because this will be almost this length, you could cut out a panel for these 2 pieces, and then you could cut out this panel with just a little bit of a 1/2 inch extra tab, and then tab it to the end there. So hopefully that's clear to how you would do that. If you have, if you want to see how I would do that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just kind of assume that if you don't have this sort of paper, that you can figure that part out. So I have 5.5 inches. I have a 1/4 inch gusset. Another, this is 5.5. Yeah, this is 5.5, and another 1/4 inch gusset. And then this one will be a little bit smaller so that it'll fold in here without binding. So I'm going to score. This won't fit in my trimmer this way, so I'm going to have to do a score first. So I'm going to score at 5.5. Did I say 5.5 or 5? I said 5.5. So I'm going to score at 5.5. Then I'm going to fold that back, and then I'm going to put it into my trimmer, and I'm going to cut it this way. I want it this way to be 7. But I just, like I said, I can't fit it in my trimmer until I do that first score. So then I'm going to put it in my trimmer and cut it at 7. And this is not going to be used probably in this project. We may use it for a pocket or something, I'm not sure. And of course you can make this trifold any size that you want. You can make them smaller. I've made something very similar in kind of a miniature size. Maybe I'll do another one of those projects someday if you want to see that. You could make it bigger, taller, whatever. But I'll show you how I'm doing it on the size I'm going to do it. So I scored now at 5.5, and I want to score a 1/4 inch away. So that would be 5 3/4. So 5.5 and 5 3/4. Okay, and then I need another one, another score that'll be 5.5 inches from here. So you can calculate that, or sometimes what I do is I just fold on that last fold, and then I fold at 5.5. So now I've got 5.5, 1/4, and then this should be, yeah, 5 3/4 to that one. Then I want another one 1/4 inch away. So basically you'll have a score at 5.5, 5 3/4, 11 1/4, and 11 1/2. And then I'm just going to fold on all of these. This is a fairly light weight cardstock. If you wanted to use a heavier weight cardstock, that would be fine too. You might have to just work at the scores a little bit more. So there's my 1/4 inch. And then I have a 1/4 inch on this side as well. So just fold those scores. And then this last flap, I could almost just, well, no, once I get this folded in here, it's going to be too long. So from the last point of here, I'm going to cut it off at 5 inches. It's hard to, because this is so long, I can't quite measure it on here, so I'm giving you kind of a wonky way to measure the scores and stuff, so hopefully you can follow that. So now I'm going to, from the very last score that I did, I'm going to measure 5 inches. So I'm just going to line up that last score at 5 inches and cut. So I just cut about this much off. And that I don't have to save. Okay, so then that will fold in like that, and that will fold in like that, and that's the base of our folio. So hopefully you're with me to that point. So then the next thing I'm going to do, and because this is a little bit lighter weight cardstock, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. And when I used to make a lot of these folios and things like that, I would do, this one I did a little different actually, because the teal was my cardstock, so it kind of coordinated with this, as does this. But a lot of times I would cover it in a way that's called matting, which would be leaving a little bit of a border, typically leaving a little bit of a border all the way around. So this is 5.5 by 7. I would cut a piece of paper that would be 5 1/4 by about 6 3/4, leave 1/4 inch, and then I would center that on here and ink the edges and whatever. So I've done that many, many times in the past, but my new favorite way of doing it is just to put some, I'll show you this in 1 second, but put some glue on here, put this on here, don't measure anything, press it on, turn it over, and trim it off. So that's what I'm going to do this time, because I do enjoy doing it that way rather than measuring everything and matting and doing it that way. But if you prefer that way, then by all means, you do it that way. I'm not going to cover the, saying that, I think what I probably should do is put a bit of reinforcement on these 1/4 inch joints, because I'm not going to cover those with paper. So I think, but I'll do that on the other side. I don't need it on both sides. So this will likely be my cover. So I'm just going to line it up right at the edge of these pieces. I'm not going to have any sort of border there. And so that covers the whole entire front cover, and I've left the spine open there. And then I'll grab a scissor. And turn this over. And I knew I got a little bit of a glomp there. Just gonna put it on there, and I'll glue that side next. So I'm gonna cut this off here. And just trim right at the very edges. I just find this a little bit more relaxing way to cover something these days. Okay, and then I'm going to do this page, and if something doesn't cover completely, and this one actually will cover one of those sides completely, so, but I probably don't want that back to back, but I can save that for another piece. Okay, so now I'm doing the inside. So before I do that, I think I'm going to reinforce these 2 spine edges, and there's multiple ways that you can do that. what I'm going to do, just because it's really handy, is use this. It's medical fabric tape. It's really strong, but it's fabric-y, so you can bend it, you can ink it, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. I saw this on a video a long time ago, and I've started using it quite a bit. Sometimes I just even buy this medical tape at the dollar store. It's probably not as strong as the real medical stuff, but it works perfectly for this purpose. You can use something like Tyvek, which is like a paper that's kind of reinforced with fiberglass fibers, I think. You can use any kind of, you know, washi tape even. Washi tape is not the strongest, but you could use another piece of cardstock. You're probably used to figuring out something for these type of things. I saw something that Amanda did a couple of weeks ago, where she had this really, really thin nylon tape, I think it was. And it looked really interesting because it was really thin, but strong. And that would be perfect for those kind of joins as well. So hopefully you have something that you can do with that. Let me just make sure I get everything right side up here. So let's do this inside cover, because I have this one already partly glued. Just using glue stick, and I think this glue stick probably would hold it because it's pretty good glue stick. This is the Scotch Create, but I think I'm also going to sew around the edges of my folio because I do like that look. So I can take whichever one I want. I think I'll use this one, and I'll line that up right at the spine again, right at the bottom edge. Press that on. And trim those edges off. And then I'll just continue doing that until all of my edges are covered. If I have just a partial piece that is not big enough, looks like these ones will both do, all these pieces will do 2 pages, so I probably won't even have to. But if I want to piece it, I did this with my envelope flippity floppity journal a few weeks back, if you remember. You know, say if I just had this one little piece, or where's the little piece that I cut off here? Here. Say I just had this one little piece left, I could just put that here. Then I could put another piece here, I could put another piece here, kind of a decoupage, or I could just cover the top part because I'm probably going to put a pocket down here. So lots of different ways that you can piece it if you, I like to use, you know, all the pieces of my paper instead of having a new piece of paper for every surface, if that makes sense. So that's just a way to do this. I'll just do one more on camera, and then I'll do the rest after. I just wanted to show you this one. I'm going to do, I just folded one edge back because I want to have one edge that I can cut off of. If I just put it like this and I glue it on, then you can't turn it over and trim. I mean, I could fold it back after too if I wanted to, but. So I'm just going to put glue on this one. I'm going to put glue not on the spine, but right up to the spine. So I'm going to cover part of this medical tape. Part of it will be showing, but I'm going to ink that and it will just blend. You won't even notice that it was on there. And I think I'll use this one and just make sure that I got it all right side up. Yeah. So I'll put this one along here. And press that on. And then turn it over and trim that one off. That one's kind of a little bit wonky. I'm going to fix that when I folded it over. Okay, and then fold this back. And just be careful when you're cutting here, because this is a fold and you don't want to cut the paper. That medical tape actually protects it pretty good too, because it won't allow you to cut into that very easily. So there we have the front cover, this first cover, this next cover. And I'm going to put pockets and stuff here, but it's just easier for me to just cover everything and then worry about where I actually need to put the pockets and stuff. So I'm just going to finish gluing those on, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I covered all of my sides. So now I'm just going to do some sewing, and I'm going to sew on all of my edges. So I'm going to sew down this edge on this side of the spine, and then on this edge on that side of the spine. So just down those two edges here, and then I'm going to sew down those two edges exactly the same way, and then I'm going to sew around the whole entire perimeter. So I'm just going to go do that, and I'll ink all of my edges as well, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. So I stitched all around my book and inked it, and I started playing with a few elements here, just putting things here and there to see where I might want them. I made a few different pieces of ephemera. I have a couple of that. I turned the file folders that were in the Booklovers kit into just little folders. So there's one of them. Here's another one of them. Or here's the other one, rather. And that has this paper clipped on the back. I made a couple of these little, they look like envelopes, but they're really just long journaling spots. And I like these because you can put them around like a skinny belly band. Don't know if I have, here's just a little piece of paper. If I have this as a belly band, I can fasten it on here, and then this is going to connect to your page somewhere. So I think I'll do that with one of those anyways. I have a couple of these pockets. Actually, I made several of these pockets using different elements in the kits, and I turned them into pockets using book page. So I had some hymn book music page. So I cut it the size of the pocket plus about 1/2 inch on the two sides and the bottom, and then just folded those in, made a little divot here and turned that into a little pocket. So then it's a little bit roomier. So you can put these in as a pocket, or you can put them in like as a double-sided kind of thing, like I did in, I put one of them in here, and I just put this in as a double-sided pocket. And this one I just used some of my faux vintage tape to tape it in front and back. So I did several of those and decorated them up a little bit. Here's another one of those. This is just going to be a flip out here. And this pocket, I put a little bit of tabs on here as well so that it would hold a little bit more. And then I just cut a little V here with my envelope punch board and punched out or cut out one of the circles in the kit, and just use that to make an interesting little pocket. I'm going to make these little albums into some sort of a little album, I guess. Some pages. So I think what I'm going to do is just work on maybe one page of this at a time, and I'll do some footage and I'll speed through some of it, and some of it I might just eliminate altogether because I don't want this video to be super long. And then what I want you to do is I want you to comment below if you'd like to see something in more detail. So I'll have the footage, I can slow down and do voiceovers, or if you want to learn how to make, you know, these little pockets or the file folders, just a little tuck there, or any, you know, any of the elements that I have in here. If you want to see exactly how I make them, make a comment, and then I'll have like a part 2 for this, and then I'll show some of the details of how I make things based on what you guys want to see. So I'm just going to go into fast forward now, and I'll start working on the journal. I'll put some music in the background and enjoy.